Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Cam, and welcome back to my Villeneuve series, where I'm going to be reviewing every Denis Villeneuve movie from Polytechnic through Blade Runner 2049 in honor of Dune 2021, coming out this October. I've already covered everything from Polytechnic through Enemy. If you'd like to check those out, there will be a playlist link in the eye in the right-hand corner. Be sure to check those videos out. But for right now, it's time to talk about a movie that I had not seen in a very long time. However, yeah, I forgot how good this movie was. It's Sicario. This movie starred Emily Blunt, Josh Brolin, and Benicio del Toro, among others, and it was released in 2015. It tells the story of a woman named Kate Macer, played by Blunt. She is an FBI/SWAT team member. Basically, if you see a SWAT team breaking down the door, she's usually at the front of the line. And, well, let's just say drug-related activity and killings has been out of control, especially where she's stationed in Arizona. However, she is recruited by an FBI agent, played by Josh Brolin, who is looking to make a major coup and cause a lot of chaos in the drug world. Macer, wanting to bring these people to justice, says, "Okay, I'm in," and realizes that she was not prepared for the world that she was about to step into, as it is filled with lies, deception, and hitmen. More specifically, a Sicario, played by Benicio del Toro. I know definitively, for a fact, that I saw Prisoners with my dad when it came out. However, Sicario was the first movie that I remember saying to myself, wow, this director is just fantastic. I need to pay attention to him. And I had never seen Sicario since I saw it in theaters. Having rewatched it now, yeah, it's better than I remember. Firstly, I would be remiss if I didn't address the best part of this movie, the cinematography. This is Roger Deakins back behind the camera again, and it shows. Every single shot in this movie is almost perfection. And it's not about what is shot, but how every shot looks, if that makes any sense. That makes this movie feel the way it is. Because Deakins adds to the tone and the mood of this with just every shot that he composes. I'll give you an example from the first scene. The first scene of the movie is Macer busting into what appears to be a house where druggies come and get the drugs in order to sell. Well, it's owned by the cartel, and that house is a cover to store bodies. Let's just say there are bodies everywhere. Forget the Rob Zombie movie. This is the House of 1,000 Corpses. I think in another movie this would have been done via CGI or something else. But all of this looks like it's done practically and on the set, which is just crazy to think about. Combine the screwed up notion that all of these bodies are stuck in the walls and possibly in the floorboards and just everywhere else. Deakins' cinematography just adds to just how disgusting this place is. As soon as we see this hallway of bodies, it smash cuts to Emily Blunt and her partner in the SWAT team, who's played by a younger Daniel Kaluuya. They're both throwing up everything they've ever eaten, and I do not blame them for a second. Incredibly dirty just watching this particular section alone. It would get a little worse later, but yeah, this movie sets its tone from the very beginning. The movie gives you an inciting incident to where you're like, oh, these cartel folks, they're just terrible. Not knowing, and I will stay clear of spoilers, but not knowing that there is a plan to possibly put something worse in its place. I'll touch more on that in a second, but I almost forgot to add on to that not only is Deakins' cinematography just out of this world good, but the action is great as well. This movie has a surprising lack of action, but what you do see is just visceral. It really is. if you don't know, or if you haven't seen this movie and you don't know, like, where to begin, or if you want to just, like, watch one scene, watch the scene when they're in Juarez. It's this big operation where this line of black SUVs cross the U.S.-Mexico border to get this big cartel guy to transport him from Juarez back over the border. And it's not as easy as it sounds. Let's just say there is a literal Mexican standoff at the border, and yeah, it's brutal stuff. But it's all shot and helmed just so well. And then there's the acting, which is all just absolutely excellent. Emily Blunt is someone that I've been a fan of for a really long time. I don't think she's ever given a bad performance personally. But I think this might be her at, if not at her best, close to her best. She doesn't really, at first she doesn't really care about the finer details. She just wants to know where these cartel folks are and just bring them to justice. But she quickly realizes that the people that she's teaming with aren't really interested in that. They're interested in a different form of that. Is excellent in this movie. And maybe it's because I just know him so well as Thanos, but whenever you would hear him, like, off screen or off camera, he has the Thanos voice. And there are certain lines that he says where it just sounds like Thanos saying them. I don't know if that's more intimidating or not, but I thought it was great. And then you have Benicio del Toro, and his dialogue and scenes are not as prevalent as you might imagine. For this movie literally being called Sicario, which translates to Hitman, I thought that he had more of a presence. He does appear here, but the movie does a good job of keeping up a mystique of him, if you will. So when the final twist does happen, you're just like, oh, and it just takes you completely aback. And again, I won't spoil the twist, and let's just say there is a Villeneuve twist like in all of his movies. But here, it's not a gut punch in terms of pain or confusion in the case of Enemy, but it's more of a realistic kind of horror. To leave you with something, let's just say there is a line that Josh Brolin says, where he basically says something to the tune of, we have to do something, and until we can convince 20% of the population to stop snorting and smoking that shit, then we gotta do something drastic. And on paper, you do see the wisdom of that, however, in practice, it's just all kinds of screwed up. And at the end of the day, I was sitting here thinking to myself, okay, for Villeneuve's filmography, there's gonna be like top tier, and then Sicario's gonna be in the mid tier. And I was wrong. From a technical standpoint, this is one of Villeneuve's most beautiful looking movies. And that's the double-edged sword about it. It's beautiful, but it's also hard to watch from a realistic side of things. All the acting is excellent. The music is really underrated as well. I almost forgot that. And the twist just leaves you just thoroughly gutted, especially with more recent developments in the news. And I forgot to mention this in my Enemy review, but in Enemy and Sicario, there's no kernel of hope offered, and usually, even at the end of Prisoners, there is a small hope that things might get a little better. Not by much, but enough. But in Enemy, and especially Sicario, that kernel is nowhere to be found. It's just dread for days. It's interesting that after Sicario, Villeneuve would go back to more of that style. It's interesting to think about. But that is all from me. Thank you so much as always for watching. I'm sure you all have seen Sicario, so leave your thoughts in the comments if you have seen it. Tell me what you think. And then next time on the Villeneuve series is going to be, well, my favorite Villeneuve movie, and like I said, I'll be doing a definitive ranking. However, this was my favorite Villeneuve movie for the longest time. It's 2016's Arrival. But if you like this video, please be sure to leave a like, comment your thoughts down below, and if you like this video and you want to see more like it, hit the subscribe button and click the bell to allow notifications. That way when a new video drops, you'll be the first to know about it. My name is Ryan Cam. I'll see you in the next one.